Projects like ours that explicitly try and work with young displaced people and try and do something to improve their lives, you know, can be targeted. The scariest one, there was like a Golden Dawn rally, like pretty spontaneously happening about 200 metres away from where our session was happening.
Supporters of the far-right Golden Dawn have taken to the streets of the Greek capital, Athens, in an anti-immigration protest.
Later on, just like a guy was like pulled up in a pickup truck outside with like a brick, just like screaming at us, like, this is Greece, like speak Greek and all this kind of stuff, how we shouldn't be doing what we're doing. And yeah, it was like super scary, man. Like, I don't know, just having him, yeah, threatening us and everything. And he did at one point go away for a short amount of time, managed to pile all the kids in the van and like get out of there quickly. But he came back like shouting, like got the kids away, but he came back and was more and more aggressive later on. I guess it's not exactly what you expect when you like start this kind of, this project. It just wasn't really a part of like the world I expected to find ourselves in with all this stuff with free movement. It's been kind of scary.
For years, thousands of asylum seekers have been living in inhumane conditions in Greece. 5 Greek islands near the Turkish coast have become known as hotspots where refugees live in overcrowded, unsanitary.
For a European capital, like Athens is seriously hectic.
Without access to education.
Αυτό που με εκνευρίζει πάρα πολύ στην Αθήνα είναι το ότι κανένας δεν τηρεί κανένα νόμο.
Because I was away for so long, I started seeing things in Athens that I wasn't able to see when I was living here.
Okay. Cool. October 2016, I volunteered with SkatePal. I was in Palestine for a month, and it was where I met Ruby. One of the things that I saw in Palestine was just like it really building community just completely naturally. Just like people sharing space, skating together of different ages, having a community hub to go engage in something positive. Skateboarding is kind of viewed, in Palestine, is kind of viewed as something a little bit outside of sport. A kind of 14-year-old girl would really struggle to get involved in football for like sort of societal prejudices around that there. But with skateboarding, it's kind of just this sort of new, different thing. It's like doesn't really count as sport, it's just a new, fun activity. And I was kind of adapting the ideas from Palestine of the things that I liked the most about SkatePal's work, and kind of adapting that to the Athenian context. And basically the main change that I thought needed to happen for that was making it mobile.
Περίμενα να φέρουμε να καθαρίσουμε λίγο εδώ πριν το βάλουμε.
Pretty much exactly 5 years ago, we drove out here and started our first sessions. Yeah.
Sort of founders and running an amazing organisation. If you don't get to know, it is the co-founders between the two of them of Free Movement Skateboarding. Please welcome Will Ascot and Ruby Matea. This is your panel.
The workshops we teach in Athens mostly engage people from the refugee and migrant communities there. So because of this, we have a portable skate park, which we built ourselves and we travel around with in our van. And we reach out to some of the camps that are outside of the city. And we also teach sessions throughout the city centre, which are really great for integration with the Greek locals.
Γιώργο, ακούς?
How 608 goes.
Η Αθήνα είναι μια ζούγκλα. Είναι μια ζούγκλα, αλλά απ' την άλλη έχει ένα πολύ ωραίο vibe.
No, when I moved back to Athens, I didn't have a specific goal in mind. I had finished my studies and I just wanted to chill for a bit.
Και είναι πολύ ωραίο το να είσαι σε ένα ιστορικό μέρος και να κάνεις skate. Δεν ξέρω, εμένα μου αρέσει.
And see what I can do with my life in Athens. So that's kind of what I tried doing.
And I felt like everything in my life I was doing, I was trying to push towards doing some kind of socially beneficial project and skateboarding. So the two things that I really believed in.
Μένω στην Αθήνα σχεδόν όλη μου τη ζωή. Βασικά, όλη μου τη ζωή μένω στην Αθήνα. Το να μεγαλώνεις στην Αθήνα έχει σίγουρα κινδύνους και σίγουρα έχει και ωραίες στιγμές. Εξαρτάται βέβαια, γιατί εγώ είμαι 21 και είμαι αγόρι. Μια κοπέλα στην ηλικία μου θα έχει περισσότερους κινδύνους από ό,τι έχω εγώ.
A few years ago, when I was still in London and I was just visiting Greece, I met Ruby. This is how I met someone from free movement for the first time.
Εγώ το free movement το ήξερα από το ministry. Αλλά ποτέ δεν είχα μπει στη διαδικασία να εμπλακώ σε όλη τη φάση.
And then free movement, I was talking with Will and they needed some female instructors to join their lessons as well.
Μέχρι που άρχισα να δουλεύω σε ένα φυσικοθεραπευτή και γνώρισα τη Ruby προσωπικά. Είχε χτυπήσει το γόνατό της τότε. Και μιλήσαμε λίγο για το τι κάνει το free movement. Και άρχισε να μου τραβάει το ενδιαφέρον.
I see you all as you come in train.
So free movement skateboarding is all about bringing skateboarding to young people in Athens who need it more than most. Everything we do is promoting well-being, so that's like physical and mental well-being.
We teach the kids many things. You have to be patient if you want to land a trick.
Να έχουν υπομονή με τα μικρότερα παιδιά.
Social cohesion, so that's just kind of trying to bring together all sorts of different groups in the city through skateboarding.
You can't do an ollie the first time you step on a board. There's so much more that comes with that.
Να μην κάνουν διαχωρισμούς.
We can get them to realise that they have plenty in common with each other, and we do that by, on a gender note, by having like lots of women instructors in sessions.
Το έχω δει γενικότερα στα sessions ότι έρχονται περισσότερα κορίτσια γιατί έχουμε την Ερατό και τη Δένια και τη Βαλεντίνα.
There are many girls that we're teaching and it's good for them to have some sort of a role model and someone that they can kind of relate to.
The impact of having like strong female role models in sessions, like you literally can't put enough value on it. I mean, Denia's like a sick skater. She's like, one of the best women skating in Greece, like for sure. And yeah, she's like absolutely like a role model for a lot of the girl skaters because she is sick. She is like a really good skater and as well as like absolutely the right character for this job.
So if I do a trick versus if a boy does a trick, an instructor, I think they'll get more excited if I do it and they want to do it as well. So yeah, they have such role models in their lives.
Και βλέπω κιόλας ότι θέλουν όντως περισσότερα κορίτσια να κάνουν skate από τη στιγμή που υπάρχουν δασκάλες skate και όχι δάσκαλοι. Γιατί εντάξει, μπορεί να είναι ένα αντρικό άθλημα σε εισαγωγικά πάντα, αλλά μερικές κοπέλες είναι καλύτερες από εμάς. Απλά δεν θέλουμε να το παραδεχτούμε.
Καταλάβατε, ο ένας θα βοηθάει τον άλλον σήμερα.
Yannis as well has been like really pushing on that kind of thing. Like the quality in his work has just like skyrocketed in the last while. It means so much to see him really like investing his time and like doing research and like pushing way beyond what I necessarily expect to try and bring the best quality of stuff to the young people we work with. Which just like.
Γιατί εγώ είχα πει εξ αρχής στο Will και στα παιδιά του free movement ότι θέλω να κάνω ένα course και να γίνω skate instructor.
In February, we went to the UK for a week. It was me, Yannis, Denia and Erato.
Σε συνεργασία με το Skateboard GB και το Skate Nottingham, γίναμε certified instructors.
We did a little feedback form afterwards, and Yannis said something along the lines of like he didn't really know what he wanted to do with his life before, like sort of years before being with free movement, and like now it's given him a real clear like purpose and direction. I mean, he got a passport for that trip.
Δεν είχα ξαναβγάλει διαβατήριο ποτέ στη ζωή μου.
What an absolute honor for me to be able to like share that with him.
Ήταν η πρώτη φορά που μπήκα σε αεροπλάνο. Τουλάχιστον τώρα έχω διαβατήριο.
Greek situation I knew far, far, far less about. When you kind of combine those two crises of economic crisis and refugee crisis, you could not create a more perfectly fertile ground for the far right, you know, like, and it's no surprise to go and see then that like Golden Dawn gets voted as the third most popular party. You can feel the tension that that stuff creates. It's, you know, it's very extreme. It creates an environment of like such deprivation for Greek people, being geographically located where it is, where like people that have seen such awful things are obliged to pass through it. It's only ever going to go one way, and there's always going to be some bastards who want to like play politics to push their own like racist agenda forward. It's just a perfect situation for that. So. Small NGOs like can't access refugee camps nearly as easily as before now, and that's due to a change in the law that was passed through quite quietly. To access a refugee camp now as an NGO, you need to be on this sort of database of like Greek registered organisations, but that was a very, very, very long and annoying bureaucratic process, which would cost us several thousands of euros to like get to that point. You then submit your application to a faceless committee that you will never be able to go and see or hear anything from. And they can just reject you. Yeah, it was a really brutal bit of legislation, and that knock to know that like, oh my God, we're no longer going to be able to access refugee camps is like, you know, there's a lot of participants that we won't be able to work with anymore, and well, since then, and it's a real horrible thing to hear it. So I think a lot of the kids there were really exhibiting like very extremely challenging behaviour, you know, like witnessing the effects of the trauma that these young people have like gone through. It was absolutely brutal, and I found it like really tough on me on like a personal level, just to see what this does to like a young person's behaviour, to see what like you know, they've got trauma from like witnessing war and then a dangerous journey through the ocean, like from Turkey to Greece, and then like, you know, horrible time probably in Lesbos and absolutely awful conditions like refugee camp, and then similarly terrible here in Athens. The effects that has on a very young person, especially, and then also you can add into that maybe they haven't been in formal education.
Αλλά όχι πως είναι 3-4 παιδιά που το κάνουν, ας πούμε, ο Δημήτρης, να το κάνουν όλοι και έτσι ώστε να πούμε ότι σε αυτό το παιχνίδι θα νικήσει.
At the point that we were doing loads of sessions in the camps, yeah, I went through a bit of a burnout, and so did many other people in the organisation. Yeah, 6 sessions a week in camps as well as all the public sessions.
Working with those kids, we of course love it so much, but many times it can have some sort of like a mental cost for us. The fact that we're working with kids who, some of them have had, you know, have gone through some very tough situations.
At that point, it was 200 kids a week. Big sessions in the camps.
They've come from different countries, they might be refugees. So to think that those super lovely and nice kids that we're working with, they've gone through so much shit, it's, you know, it's super unfair and something that makes me and the rest of the team, you know, super sad.
Those sessions really were like pretty exhausting for me. And doing that for like several years, by the end of it, I was just like, I'm like having a bit away now.
You're putting so much energy and so much of yourself into those lessons, and it kind of just all adds up. And maybe when you get home in the evening, in the night, you're so tired and you're kind of drained. The next day you're ready to do it again because you love doing it.
Δεν ξέρω τι καλύτερο μπορείς να κάνεις σε αυτόν τον κόσμο που είναι τόσο σάπιος μερικές φορές από το να βοηθάς.
It can have a mental cost, but at the same time we love doing it. So.
I've really put myself into this project and given it absolutely everything I can for a long time now, and to feel like young local skaters that you know, are from here and are like really inspirational to the young people that we work with, like put in as much themselves. It just like, you can't ask for more than that. It's like once it becomes like a self-replicating thing that like young people from this city want to do, as well as like young migrants and young refugees are understanding why this is a beneficial thing. It just means like so much. Like that's all I can ask for, you know, like, yeah, that's how this, like, you know, the aim of any project, like I believe, if you go into another place to go and run something, your aim should be to remove yourself. So I think like the objective should be that like, you know, you try and pass it on to local people, and yeah, I don't know, I think that's like where we're getting with it recently, and that really means a lot to me. I think we've made a bit of a change in like the attitudes in the Athenian skate scene without really trying, and that's a very special thing. Like, yeah, that means a lot to me. Yeah.